Welcome to another episode of OK Boomer, the podcast, brought to you once again by our friends over at the Inked Marketing Team. Inked Marketing, if you're a creator and you want to get your Indiegogo or Kickstarter off the right way, contact Kevin Gillette over at the Inked Marketing Team, over 30 years in the business. Check them out for yourself, Inked Marketing. Right now, this is Will.
This is Thomas.
And we are back at the virtual spinner rack. And we're going to be talking today about the first appearance of the Falcon. Why? Because Falcon and Winter Soldier, last episode is tomorrow.
And man, I can't wait. Damn, it's so good.
And they are promising that it's going to be 60 minutes, which to me means it's going to be, 32 minutes of show, and the rest is going to be all credits before and after.
That's not going to be that bad. But hey, look.
It seems like it,
There are a lot of people, but that just shows to the quality value of the stuff that D Plus is putting out for the Marvel line.
Yeah,
and you can't complain. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I'm still in stun after episode 4. I mean,
yeah. Oh, was that the end of Battlestar?
Yeah, that was the end of Battlestar, and the end of that other dude who, as he informed you in that episode, I didn't do it. Yeah, honestly, I wasn't even there. The check's in the mail, and
splurch.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you how many of my friends posted and changed their profile pics on Facebook, Instagram, and added to their stories on both Cap's shield with the dragging of the blood going up.
Yeah, I tried to start a little fight the next day, or what is it, the day after, when I posted in one of the groups I read the first issue of U.S. Agent. The miniseries. I've been collecting all the Marvel miniseries. Why? Because I'm a Marvel junkie. Just deal with it. So they did a ton of miniseries, and I've collected almost all of them. And I've gotten the first winter, the first Agent, U.S. Agent miniseries. I've read the first page of it, and I put it in the group, and I'm like, now let's talk about the real hero of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Needless to say, I didn't get a whole lot of likes, and a lot of people were pissed off at me.
Because I've sold my collection so many times over. I used to have all that Cap stuff, and for a while I was reading it because they announced the new Captain America movie, and I'm like, well, maybe this one will be big, and I started buying I go, what's the cheapest thing I can buy to read? Well, there's a sale going on, so I would say Captain America. I'm like, all right. And I had all these big issues that are teeing off, the first Flag Smasher. And then I started reading every other Flag Smasher that came afterwards. I go, it kind of, the stories kind of got better. He was goofy looking, but it kind of got better. And until the following issue after one of the Flag Smashers was, the Blue Streak, which was just some fool with a iron helmet on his hand, a padded up suit, and jet powered roller skates. And I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm going to quit collecting Captain America.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I guess, and we ought to do it one day just for giggles. I mean, the first issue of Captain America I ever remember reading as a kid was 316. I think it was 316. It's one where Captain America fights Armadillo. And I've got 2 or 3 copies just because. And, and Armadillo's not really a bad guy. He's just a big dude that gets hired to do stuff. And he's tearing through Avengers Mansion and destroying, walls and all this other crap. And Cap has to fight him, and he's just hopelessly outmatched. But the thing is the arcs by Rich Buckler or Mike Zeck. I mean, it's some incredible artist, and I think Grunwald was the writer. So, it's a classic Captain America story.
I can't remember what book was the first time that I actually saw the character Armadillo, and he was probably like on the cover.
Yeah.
And I don't think I actually bought the book. I think one of my friends on the street that I grew up on, bought that because he bought like most of the Marvel stuff, and I bought nothing but DC. And so it's kind of like us.
Well, I mean, and I'm all right with that.
And I'm like, who the heck's that? He goes, that's the armadillo. You go, really? What's next? The potato bug? Like he gets beat up and he tucks in and rolls away. What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that may be one of his little powers there, but I mean, he's a giant armadillo. I mean, it's just...
at least he's armored up some,
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, this costume was ugly.
Oh my God, dude. I forgot how damn ugly this costume was.
It's like, dude, if you're not paying attention to the what heroes wear and what villains wear, villains usually wear green.
Yes,
look at the Joker.
We talked about that last week. It's green and purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are villain colors.
Yep.
And it looks like it's a villain because there's Cap. He's like on the cover. He's like, oh God. And then you see all the other bad guys. You know that they're bad guys in the background, and there's Falcon. So, oh crap, Cap's gonna have to fight this new villain.
Yeah, the coming of Falcon. So, limiting to the first two issues of this, I think my favorite part was watching Bucky tear up his mask and cry.
Oh, dude, I did not realize that. I almost wanted to say, when we get to it, whatever number it says, we need to do that just to follow Rick Jones and his damn cry fest through Marvel Comics for a little bit.
I'm like, how did the Winter Soldier get by? No wonder why they had to program him.
Yeah.
What a bitch.
But now this is Rick Jones, Bucky. But yeah, I'm like, dude, he's like he tears up the love letter Captain America sends him or something. I'm like, oh, boy, the shippers are gonna have an issue with this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's our cover, and now we'll get in. I think we talked about it last week. I thought this was Roy Thomas and Buscema. I was way off because Buscema's before this, I think. Mm-hmm. This is Stan Lee and Gene Colan. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. Don't get mad at me because we have waxed poetically about the greatness of Gene Colan. This is not his greatest work.
Mm-mm.
This is not Howard the Duck. This is not Tomb of Dracula. This is not Daredevil.
Stan was like, you're going to draw a Cap for a few issues. He goes, what's happening in the issue? He goes, well, the Red Skull is going to use the Cosmic Cube that in 100 years from now, we will call the Tesseract. It'll become part of this big movie franchise we're going to have. Yeah, okay. And Cap and the Red Skull switch bodies.
Yeah, and what's bad is we didn't even realize. I knew we were talking about it last week. This is a 2 or 3 part story, I told you. And
so this is a 3-part story, but as you were saying during the pre-show, apparently there were like another 2 or 3 issues that was nothing but lead-in to this issue. Like, holy crap, because the thing is this is Cap 117, and Cap 110... Is it 110, 111? And no, it's 110 is the first Steranko Cap, and 111 is the second, and then 112 is a Jack Kirby stand-in issue, and it's like a hodgepodge. It has nothing to do with the storyline. And then the next one is Steranko's last issue. So after Steranko left, Kirby had left,
So I guess Colin picks up in 14. So this is either it starts at 14 and 16 or something like that. But I know one of those issues is classic because it's got the Red Skull with the freaking Cosmic Cube on it in that. It's a white cover. And I just can't remember the number. I've got it, but I just don't have it out with me.
Well, I'll tell you something, true believers. Back then, there weren't anything as these ridiculous, events. Like 10 of Swords and the X-Men, where you had to buy 23 and 3/4 issues of just characters having sword fights.
Yeah.
I don't care what Ryan says. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing too is, I mean,
they didn't have time for these big events because the books themselves were the events. Who's got time for an event where you're going into the story? Well, we're going to introduce a new character. How are we going to do it? No clue. Red Skull will be involved, and a few artists that don't want to work on the book because they heard my pitch. Okay, Stan, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. I mean, but this is a long. I mean, and this is a long storyline, and it at least, instead of getting the black page that we get now at the beginning of most Marvel books that tell you true believers, this is what happened last time.
Mm-hmm.
Cap, who we find out as we read is not Cap, is actually the Red Skull. Like you said, he's using the Cosmic Cube, and him and Captain America and the Red Skull have switched bodies, and the Red Skull has now used the Cosmic Cube to send him to the Isle of Exiles. And Red Skull, which is actually Cap, is falling. He's like, hold on just a moment. I'm gonna let you talk for just a sec, okay?
Okay. Go ahead. And he takes over, and as you can see with the little wavy lines there, the Red Skull, even though you're seeing the Red Skull there, is actually Captain America. We did the body switch, and he's stuck in Red Skull's body and put onto the Isle of the Exiles. These goofy bad guys that Red Skull had trained during World War II, and there's no escape from this island. It's surrounded by a force field. There's no way in and there's no way out. So people that get trapped on the island can never leave.
And see, I didn't realize that until I was reading this again, because I'd read this story years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, what in the world? And he shows up on the island, and it even took me a minute because, like I said, Cap's still sitting here, and he's like all gloating. Because originally, when I downloaded this and sent it over to you, I like thumbed through it, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of weird. Cap's acting really odd. And then as you read it, you find out, yeah. So the exiles are looking, they're just looking for, on the island, they're just looking for people to do. And then all of a sudden, they're kind of looking for this green suited dude that fell out, which is hiding the Red Skull. And he freaking falls out of the tree. And dude, these are some of the lamest villains in the history of Marvel Comics.
Well, these are people that the Skull trained himself back in World War II. So they might not be up to par. Like the old man there in the supposed chair of death.
Yeah.
This is basically a dollar store version of MODOK. And MODOK is pretty much the lamest thing in all of Marvel as far as villains go.
Oh, come on. I love MODOK. He's just so weird, dude.
It's just like a big giant head attached to a murder machine that never actually murders anything.
Anybody. He's the mental organism for destruction and killing, for death and killing, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy in the red jumpsuit and the red skull helmet is like in the tree hiding, and he fall. Of course, he falls, and he's like, he can tell that somebody has like willed him to fall down, and so he falls down and he gets up, and then this, the first villain runs up there, and he's like, I'll take care of him, and he's like, it was you, because they're all after the Red Skull, because the Red Skull's trapped them on this planet. So they think, or this island. So he thinks that it's the Red Skull. And he runs, you taught me to make my scarf a lethal weapon. I'm like, the scarf of death? did you knit this bitch with steel or something?
Man, I know Stan used to be a fun guy, but how much weed was he smoking when he wrote this crap?
The scarf of death, the whatever. He doesn't call it the scarf of death, but he's like, I'm going to use my lethal weapon of my scarf to know how its deadly sting feels. It's a scarf.
Don't scarf at my scarf. And his scarf all of a sudden becomes like, hundreds of meters long, and is like whipping and wrapping around, and I'm like,
yeah, I mean, dude, this scarf puts Tom Baker's scarf to shame. I mean, at least his was colorful and it was long. This thing just grows.
It grows, and it's all white.
Yeah, it's all white.
Oh
it
dear!
Couldn't even afford any different colors.
It must be the white supremacy skull.
It may be. So he throws it at Cap, who's disguised as the Red Skull, and he's like, "Hey, I know his weakness. So as soon as the scarf hits, I'll strike." And so he pulls him off balance and takes out the dude with the scarf. And then now, Chang and the dude in the murder chair are like, I'll shoot him with a single shot. And, Cap jumps out of the way. He's like, hey, I was ready for that. How much longer can I hand? He throws sand in their face and then kicks them in the head. Like, dude, these villains are super lame.
And you would think the Meisterburger here with the steel fist, would at least, it's like even like a light tap would probably knock out, Steve Rogers stuck in the skull's body there.
Yeah, and you got the dude with the whip, his name is Iron Hand Hauptmann. Like, really? It'll be me who slays the Red Skull. And he's got a freaking monocle, dude. He's wearing a monocle. I understand he's a villain, but he's, I just... So, the thing is while all this is going on, the Red Skull, meanwhile, who's watching it all with the Cosmic Cube, is having such a good time and knows that Cap's dead at any moment, decides to set the Cosmic Cube to the side and go have fun. And he quits watching.
Mm-hmm.
And when he quits watching, all of a sudden, this Falcon rushes in and knocks Hauptmann out of the way. And he's like, "Oh, that Falcon's fast enough, to help me get out of the way." And Red Skull, or not Red Skull, but Cap lands a couple punches while the Falcon keeps going around. And everybody's still, they're all there. And, I love how, this second time the Falcon gave me a breather. So this Falcon is obviously helping him for some reason. We don't know what reason why yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it flies off, so after it gives him the hand, he makes his break before he runs away. This was just the weirdest thing to me. Because, the modern Red Skull, his face is the skull.
Yeah.
It's been changed, and back then it was a mask. So, he runs away to the woods and he's like, I don't even know why I didn't think about it. So he takes off the Red Skull mask and kind of throws it away, and then takes some clay and mud and makes himself a disguise.
Like,
It's going to really work.
You know, and I'm like, one, that would never work.
No, never.
It would just make your face dirty.
Yeah.
Two, that is basically the the Batman villain Clayface.
I mean, I really don't know, but yeah, he throws it away, and then he comes back, and I'm like, oh my god, um, uh, he puts on all the clay, and he even says, nobody's seen me without my, without the Red Skull mask, so they don't really know what I'm looking at. Well, then why are you putting makeup on, or not makeup, but dirt on your face?
Because it feels dirty,
I guess. So, but then we leave fake Red Skull / Captain America on the island of exiles, and go to New York City, where Cap is like strutting through the town. And this is the part I saw when I was just thumbing through it. I'm like, what in the world is he doing? So he's strutting through the town and like gets a taxi, and everybody's waving at him. And meanwhile, while they all wave at him, he's, the adoring public, how I despise them, and they're all idiots, and the Cosmic Cube's mine, and he's going to destroy them.
I kept looking back at the cover, wondering where the blurb of surprise, it's Assistant Editors Month was hidden.
It's just not that good.
It's like, I think the only other thing I read that was just as bad was the Avengers issue, guest starring Dave, what's his name from The Late Show?
Oh, the David Letterman episode?
The David Letterman issue, yeah. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah, this is just straight up Silver Age goofiness. This is almost beyond that. I mean, and it does get a little better, but not by much. I mean, Cap takes a taxi to this hotel, and he like struts his ass in there, and people are like, look, I've never seen Captain America swagger like that. It's almost as if he revels in the public attention. He's making, muscles, and, hey, check out my arms, baby. Here's my biceps. And they're all, doing whatever. And he's taking photographs. And I think it's the next page that I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, there it is.
But in the thought bubbles, he's talking about how he's going to destroy them all and make Cap, make them hate Captain America and, destroy his image. And when has the Red Skull ever smiled? He's like in Cap's body smiling.
Yeah. And they're all, they're like, flex your muscle, your biceps, some of the reporters are like, something's really weird is going on here, because Cap never used to take pictures. He didn't ever talk about publicity. And some of them are like, maybe the publicity's finally gone to his head, flex your muscles and all this. I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny here, though. Like I said, he keeps flexing his muscles, and they start asking him, different, things about Bucky and this is going on. And Red Skull doesn't know. So he gets mad, and he like puts an end to the interview, and then he's like a butthole. And of course, he heads upstairs to the best. He's Red Skull, so he can be a butthole. That's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
He heads upstairs, and he's like, "I still got the Cosmic Cube," which he's like throwing around like it's a damn, freaking Rubik's Cube or something. Not the most powerful weapon in the Marvel universe at this time. Like, really?
Yeah. He's just kind of like, tossing it around more like it's a Rubik's Cube than a Cosmic Cube. And
yeah. But then it flashes to, here he is. Here's your MODOK man, where you were going like, MODOK, lame guy. So we find out it gives a brief history of the Cosmic Cube, which was created by AIM to, do what it is. It's a super secret weapon. And MODOK, who leads AIM, knows that someone else has the cosmic cube. He doesn't know whoever it is, but he wants to render it powerless, because if he doesn't, they'll use the cube against him. And then
and what's even funnier is this is the first time I've ever seen MODOK where his feet reach the ground.
Yeah. Almost reached the ground, yeah. I actually had to go back and look at and I looked at the first appearance of MODOK because of something. It's either in this issue or the next one where they show it, and I will talk about it when it gets there. But I was like, wow, that's really weird. But yeah, his feet are almost on the ground, and he's still in the chair. But of course, our story flashes back, and all of a sudden, look, there's a smiling Sam Wilson with, a falcon, and he's even got the little falconer's glove on, and the I can't remember what they call the little ropes that they tie to the feet of the falcon.
Ropes.
Whatever that, I think they have a name for them, but yeah. So he's, hey, good work, Red Wing. You helped attack the exiles again, robbing them of a victim. I don't know who that red jumpsuit dude is, but, he got away. And then, a few yards away is the dude in the green jumpsuit.
Which is Captain America in the Skull's body, rubbing mud on his face.
But he looks like, I guess it was just white mud, because, he looks perfectly clean there. And, he comes out and, hey, buddy, how are you? And, thanks, that bird helped me. And, they shake pleasantries, and Cap, who's from New York, recognizes Sam's accent as being from Harlem. And he's like, hey, well, you're obviously from Harlem. What are you doing here on the Isle of Exiles?
Well, that's some racist shit right there.
But it was 19 a long time ago,
It was 19 a long time ago.
Yeah, 19 a long time ago. So I'm like, okay, so you obviously know he's from Harlem because of his accent. And he's from, New York, so whatever. So they get to talking. And, freaking Sam tells him all about his history, how, he had pigeons in Harlem, and he raised all these pigeons. Meanwhile, they, as they go back to this hut and they have food, and the natives bring them food and stuff. He had pigeons and he raised them, and then he got into, he went on a vacation in Rio, and then he got into falconry, and that's where he bought Red Wing. And, we've been together ever since. It's almost like, we have a bond of some kind. And then he says, the people on the Isle of Exiles, he answered an ad from the Isle of Exiles that he didn't know at the time, that were looking for someone that wanted to teach them falcon hunting. So he answers the ad. So that's how he got here. Like, dude, that's kind of weird, but okay.
Okay, so an island that you can't get off of,
but the Postal Service can make it,
placed an ad.
Yep.
To lure this pigeon dude from Harlem.
Falcon dude now.
Island.
He started off with pigeons. He's got a falcon now.
Yeah.
And he got the post office, he got the ad in Rio now.
I'm like, was Stan coming off like a bender when he wrote this? Because this is really bad.
Oh, shit.
What?
He's getting married at the Bonnet Onion Festival.
No, he's not. Oh. Sorry about that.
Well,
something happened.
There won't be no kissing at the Onion Festival.
Yes, we have an Onion Festival. So, Cap and him keep talking, and he's like, hey, well, you've been doing good, knocking those exile guys out and, doing that. But, you really need to get a plan, man, because, Sam's like, we're going to fight back. We're going to get sticks and stones if we have to. And we're going to beat these dudes up, even though they got guns and the death chair. But Cap's like,
the death chair.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
whatever
God.
the hell it is.
I'm like,
So,
I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. Oh my God.
It is terrible. But so Cap's like, nah, dude, what you need a symbol for the natives to actually go around. Something that'll unnerve the exiles. Something green and ugly. Like
a bat. A falcon.
Like a falcon. Yeah.
Oh God.
So then it's like, it shows, that they're starting to look for him. It's like, he can't escape us. He's on the island. We'll find him eventually. So they're looking for him. And then, but Cadavis is the dude's name in the chair. Why don't you just call him a damn cadaver? He looks like he's dead anyway.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So Cadavis is in the chair. And then they do the little at the bottom of the page, whatever this little thing is, where they show making Falcon's costume, the Falcon, for our next sensational landmark issue. But I was thinking, where the hell did they get all this spandex? And, all of this stuff on this island. So
you're trapped on an island, which means there's no trade in or out. But all of a sudden, you've got superhero duds.
Yeah, they're going to make you some superhero duds. You're talking spears and armors, yet they're going to try and make you like a metal belt and a stretchy mask and spandex and on their sewing machine that he has to operate with his feet.
What's he doing with my mother's sewing machine?
Yeah, I'm like, no, dude, that's not even a pedal sewing machine.
No.
I mean, a pedal sewing machine I've used like this. Dude, he's got it between his toes. He's having to push up and down like this.
I didn't know what this was. I was like, man, he's got some kinky S&M contraption somewhere. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, that's some kind of freaking weird sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's, of course, they got all this green yarn on here. I guess that's what they weaved it all out of. So that's the end of our first issue.
Man,
and then
the second issue should have just been him, one, finding where the hell would you find not just that much green yarn, but any green yarn at all on a secluded island.
Yep. Oh.
Okay.
And then the next issue is Captain America 118, The Falcon Fights.
Mm-hmm. He fights to get the hell off this island so he can get a respectable looking costume.
Yeah, dude, his costume changes like I can't. It's like what, 10 issues from here or something, and he's in the red and white. I mean, this is the ugliest damn costume.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's terrible.
They were just like, man, this is not working.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to do something. I mean, this is, we thought Daredevil's first costume was ugly. At least it had some class. This thing is ugly.
Well, Daredevil's first costume was kind of cool, but
yeah, exactly.
You could explain that away simply by the fact that he was blind.
Yeah, he was blind, and he made it out of his dad's boxer's trunks and the boxer's cape. That's it. Yeah, no. Sam's got perfect vision. Matter of fact, he's the Falcon. He's probably got better than perfect vision. But so another beautiful red cover in the Falcon fights.
At least the bird had, Red Wing had perfect vision. That's why he kept tying him up, because that bird was just trying to get away from that ugly ass costume.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So it opens up, they kind of still tell the little story for those of you who didn't know what's going on, but we do. So here, same creative team as last time: Stan Lee, Gene Colan, Sonat, and Rosen. And the Exiles are now looking for the guy in the green jumpsuit and, that damn bird. And, of course, back in New York City, the Red Skull has finally decided to look in and see, hoping to see the dead body of, Captain America. But instead, he sees that the Exiles are looking for him. And he's like, the Exiles are trained by me to be personally the best, the most ruthless and bloodthirsty. And they still haven't caught him. But the isle is small. No one stands a chance, So he gets so pissed off he starts tearing up this apartment. They're going to call him and build.
And this brings up another important question. If the Red Skull trained the Exiles years ago, why are they hunting the Red Skull?
Yeah, because he trapped them on the island.
He trapped them on the island. Yeah.
Yeah, he trapped them on the island.
So you're stuck on a Pacific island, an island somewhere south of the equator.
Yeah.
Not, nowhere near Hawaii or, whatever. But I'm thinking
and it's a small island.
It's a small island, but I'm thinking there's worse things to be stuck on.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't get off of the island. There's some kind of force shield around the island, but you still have fresh fish. Now, I guess if you're allergic to fish, that really sucks. If you don't like it, you'll get used to it. You'll either eat coconuts or you'll eat fish.
Yeah, there's everything they need there. They're just stuck on the island away from civilization. And there's apparently a decent-sized native population there. Mm-hmm. So they've been fishing and, they've probably got some kind of agriculture. But I understand they're pissed off. So now they're looking for it.
And apparently there is a huge-ass warehouse full of green yarn somewhere on the island.
And the post office does deliver regularly.
Yeah, well, there you go. But they still don't have a sewing machine.
So he throws a fit, starts breaking up the furniture in the fanciest hotel in all of New York City, while he still looks through the cosmic
New York City.
Exactly.
Okay.
And and they see the damn Falcon flying overhead. And he's like, look, it's the Falcon that keeps attacking us. So, Corpso guy says, hey, shoot him, dude. So he goes to shoot him, and he's not going to bother us anymore. But he's trying to shoot him. You got a handgun. The Falcon's way up there. So he shoots at it a couple times, and then Sam hears, someone's shooting at Red Wing. And Cap, who's just like, hey, don't worry. They've only got
that's a German Luger from World War II.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to reach.
No. Yeah, he's like, he's only got a pistol. It'll be hard for, hunting. Your hawk will get out of range. Don't worry, he'll be all right. So
shoot down that plane overhead with what? Here's a slingshot.
Exactly. You ain't going to reach it. But, so Red Wing shows back up. Meanwhile, Cap and Sam have been bonding all about their history, and they've talking about, ready to, they talk about being back from Harlem again, and everything that's happened, and now you got a costume, and Sam's telling him, hey, I'm starting to really believe that this could work, and Cap tells him, well, we got some training to do, so we're going to hope that Sam's already in pretty good shape from the first issue we saw. So we're going to hope that he also has some kind of training. And Cap starts to show him how to fight and is training the Falcon to fight. And, of course, if you go by the old Marvel, the Marvel encyclopedias, Cap's the best hand-to-hand combatant in the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
So they get into this giant fight, and then within the matter of what, dude, 4 pages, maybe not even 4 pages, 2 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Sam is actually already picking up enough to start being able to lay blows on Cap.
There's a lot of green on that page.
A lot. I'm beginning to think that they just had bought a bunch of extra green ink and needed to get rid of it. And then, of course, meanwhile, back in the States, of course, here's Red Skull sleeping. And he gets woken up, and it's like, oh, it's your fans. They're down in the lobby. And, he's like, get rid of them, blah, 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 blah. I'll kill you or whatever. And, I hate all this.
I can't. Stuff. They started showing up here after midnight.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I can hold them off. But somehow, one of them, realizes what room he's in and jumps across the freaking counter and grabs the spare key to his room. How did you know what room he was in? They've located your spare room key. So now they're going to run up this hotel. Obviously create a fire hazard in the stairwell or the elevator, whichever one they pile into, and get up to his room. And they're going to break in. And they're going to be like, "Oh, it's a Cap." And it's like, but he's managed to change clothes in 3 panels. So now he's fully dressed.
Well, not for nothing. When you're staying in the most expensive hotel in all of New York City,
yep,
and the front desk calls you and says that a whole bunch of your rabid fans found out what room you're in, and they're running up there as we speak, you're going to hurry up and put some pants on. This ain't no Zoom meeting.
Yeah, so, well, he gets dressed, and he's like, they'll be at the door. I use the power of the cosmic cube to knock them back. But he's like, Cap doesn't have any powers. They'll know it's not me. It's not really him then. So instead, he decides that he's going to use the cosmic cube to, materialize behind them and escape. So they're all, just like I said, they're all creating this jammed fire hazard in the freaking elevator and everything else. And the Red Skull disappears and reappears behind them, and he rushes out the damn fire escape. And, hey, we all want to talk to you. And he just slams the door and runs. And, jumps over the crowd and leaps over some cars. And, they're all, simpletons. And, they'll embellish the story that Captain America's a giant butthole. And he runs away.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it is. Here's Bucky, man. I mean, he's so, last time I talked to Cap, he acted like I was a stranger. I don't need a house to follow me to know that, I'm not another big deal. And, he's just whatever. And then look, there it is.
The autographed picture of Cap.
Yeah. To my sidekick, Rick, Cap. Like, really? That's the damn letter you sent me? So she's like, I'm no longer an Avenger. And he tears it up. Maybe we'll get together for some days just for laughs, but don't hold your breath for waiting. And he's like crying and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, but this is the book. I was like, so note, for the surprise of the season, see what fate has in store for Rick in Captain Marvel 17, now on sale. So I'm like, dude, we may need to do just Captain Marvel 17, just to see what the hell happens to Crying Rick.
So, Crying Rick is Rick. The only Rick I can think of is Rick Jones.
This is Rick Jones.
The Hulk Rick Jones. Abomination Rick Jones.
A Hulk Rick Jones. Abomination Rick Jones. Avengers Rick Jones. Captain Marvel Rick Jones. It's all the same guy.
Rick Jones should be about 180 years old right now.
Yeah, this is the kid that drove out onto the test range because he was trying to cut through the freaking test range to make it to his girlfriend's house to pick her up to go out on a date when the bomb went off that Bruce Banner saved him from. That Rick Jones. The one who started the Young Avengers. The guy that put the Avengers together by accident. This is him.
Rick, you're the reason I have 3 long boxes of the Hulk. I'm glad you're crying. You sniveling little.
Yeah. Yeah. Dumbass that doesn't read a sign that says no trespassing, bomb site area.
Yeah.
That's him. So it's like now we got to follow into Captain Marvel 17, see what happens to crying Rick. But now we flash back to AIM, and we've done it. So now they've created some kind of new cosmic cube, only now it's the cosmic sphere. It's a round thing, some kind of round whatever. It's like, we've done it. The new block is now round.
It's the new block is round. It looks like a big.
That's what it says.
It looks like a big Aggie marble from the 50s.
Exactly. I mean, but that's exactly what it says. We've done it. The block is now round. And there's like, all that remains is phase 3 when we turn it into a triangle.
We can now fit a square block through a red hole. What?
Just like that video I sent you the other day with the lady with what is it? He's like, what's now? Where does the triangle go in this block? You're like, the triangle. Says, no, it goes in the rectangle. Where does this shape go? The rectangle.
It's like, no, because if you move them, if you finagle them around, they all fit in the wrong hole.
They will. If you keep turning it. That's right. The rectangle. Oh, so after we discovered that they've managed to make the cosmic cube a cosmic sphere, we flash back to the island of exiles where Falcon and Cap are fixing to go and attack the exiles. They're taking the fight to them.
Where everything is green.
Yes, everything. So let's go. And they rush out, and then they just lay into them.
They tackle the cripple guy. Destroy them.
Yeah,
they broke my wheelchair.
Exactly. ADA be damned. So they knock the crippled dude in the wheelchair over. They take out that guy. They get to do with the whip. They're laying waste to everybody, and then of course Helmet Iron Fist here is gonna rub the disguise off of Cap's face. He's like, but I just don't see how the disguise is. I mean, it's been like 4 days, dude. You hadn't washed your face in 4 days.
It hasn't rained on the island of misfit thugs. Yeah. And I mean, come on. We have just spoken to the fact that the Red Skull was just a mask back then, and not the actual skull that had turned red,
like he is now.
Like it is now. So nobody knows what the Red Skull really looked like. That's still alive.
No.
We hope.
That's still alive, exactly. We hope.
Mm-hmm. And so what does it matter if he rubs a little clay and dirt off your face? You don't even know what you look like. There's apparently no mirrors on this island. Otherwise, you would have thought, we probably shouldn't all be wearing green. We won't be able to tell the good guys from the bad guys.
The bad guys. Yep.
And Zoc. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's the white supremacist scarf of death. It's got me in its clutches.
Only this time, because he wasn't ready for it, it really does have him. Mm-hmm. And so this damn scarf that grows, 40 feet long, slowly wraps around him somehow. Yeah. And, he's like, it's so tight, I can't even move. But thank God, the Falcon's there to save him. Knocks those scarf dude out, And but this guy's gonna whip him. So who's behind me? It's this dude with the whip. I can't remember his name. No one moves that fast. The Falcon can move that fast. And then all of a sudden, like Red Wing flies in and bites a piece of the whip off. I understand that Red Wing's a strong bird. He's a falcon, but he bites a piece of the whip off. That's pretty tough.
He's trying to make a nest to get away from the guy with the silly green
with
costume.
his green shirt. And then the guy, now we're back to, the corpse man's managed to put his chair back up. So he's going to use the chair of death. And right before he can, as we can see, the Captain America / the Red Skull is looking in on the cosmic cube now. All the villagers have decided to join the fight, so they're throwing rocks at everybody and like beating everybody up, and they chase the exiles off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cap's like, I still feel like somebody's watching us with the cosmic cube. They're about to strike for the final time. And, even Falcon says, I feel strangely menaced. And, of course, the story does continue after this.
And next, shock after shock. Yep. Can we make this story any worse than it already is?
I think I read the third issue today, too. I read the other one. I didn't send it over to you because I know we had talked about just doing the first two. And it wraps it up pretty good. But they do destroy the cosmic cube in the third issue.
What's that, 119?
Yeah, 119. They destroy the cosmic cube. AIM does. They use the cosmic spear to destroy it. That's actually the part I was going to tell you we need to read, too, because there's a section in there. We were talking about MODOK earlier. He's always the giant head with little bitty feet, and he flies around in his little with his little jetpack thing, right? Well, apparently, MODOK was originally a regular dude, and they experimented on him and everything, and made his head real big, and put him in the chair because he couldn't walk because his head was so damn big, and that's why he flies around in a little chair. But in the first appearance of MODOK, they actually think he dies because the chair gets blown up. And there's actually a Jack Kirby drawn picture of him in that issue. They show it in the next issue. And I went back and looked at the other one because, I found it and I had to see what he looked like outside of the chair. Mm-hmm. And it's his little bitty body and his little baby body and everything sitting there with a giant head laying on the ground. I was like, man, this is really weird. But that's way back in Tales of Suspense.
And my question is, in all the DC Marvel crossovers in eons past before the evil conglomerate of Disney took over, why has there never been a MODOK versus Hector Hammond battle? Or team up or something?
I don't know. I don't know. And most of those, to be honest, though, and I know it sounds crazy because I know those are all promotional comics, but some of those team up comics are so terrible. The Marvel DC crossovers.
Oh, the amalgam?
Not the amalgam. The crossovers like Hulk versus Batman and Superman versus Spider-Man. And
well, what's weird is that was Hulk versus Batman in like the late 70s.
Yeah.
But it was almost like it was the Batman of modern day where he can't lose to anyone.
No, dude, he can't. It makes me so mad, and people bring it up all the time. Yeah, because Batman kicks the Hulk in the stomach and causes him to breathe in this gas that knocks the Hulk out.
And while you're reading that panel, in the back of your mind, you can hear Gorilla Monsoon from WWF in the 80s go, "Oh no, he got him in the breadbasket."
Yeah. I mean, and it's no, dude, no. The Batman couldn't Batman could not physically do anything to the Hulk, with a freaking kick. It would be terrible. I mean, but hey, look, Spidey had to lose the Superman Spidey fight, so Batman had to win the Batman Hulk fight. Because I know you've read that one where Spider-Man punches Superman, he just lays into him, and Superman just stands there and shrugs it off like, what was that? Was it a fly that hit me or something? And it about breaks Peter Parker's hand.
It's just,
but
those old Treasury books were like so fun, and a lot of them weren't, about the cross. There were crossovers, like obviously Hulk, Batman, and I always wanted the Superman Spider-Man one, just because I was trying to figure out why Spider-Man from New York and Superman from fake New York,
fake New York.
were fighting on top of the Eiffel Tower.
Actually, it's not the Eiffel Tower. It's like the top of the Empire State Building. It's the
spire.
It's the spire.
I always wanted the Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
That was a classic. That was an absolute classic. The one I want, and I don't have it. I've tried to get it forever. We're talking about rambling about old school Treasury books. I really want the Superman versus Wonder Woman. Where they were like, we're going to finally put an end to it. Who's stronger, Superman or Wonder Woman? I mean, I can't remember who the writer was, but Garcia Lopez, which we both know is like one of my favorite artists of all time in all comics, is the guy who draws that one. And I just can't find it for a price I can afford anyway.
One of the shops that I deal with, outside of my LCS, which is actually where I get this. I'm only like a few pages. This is Tankers from Bad Idea. I'm only a few pages into it, but I mean, you've got like the suit that like Ripley wore, like the moving thing around suit from Aliens. Yeah. But it's set up with like flamethrowers and machine guns, and they're basically mech suits, and they're fighting dinosaurs. But the cover is so cool because there's like everything in the background is like flat matte, and everything in the foreground is like super glossy, and it has stuff around the edges. I don't know if you can like see it too much there.
Yeah, I can see some of it. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
But so basically the premise of this is we're running out of fossil fuels, and they figured out that fossil fuels are made from fossils of dinosaurs. So apparently there weren't enough dead dinosaurs laying in the ground for us to make enough fossil fuels. So we've this isn't the name of the company, but the evil Roxxon Corporation makes these these fake mech suits, and sends like the Space Marines back in time with these through like a portal, like time tunnel or something, and just sends them there to like murderize as many dinosaurs as they can, so in the future they can get rich off of fossil fuels.
Off of fossil fuels.
That's what I'm gathering from like the first few pages. I know it's going to be a lot more than that, but one person hated it so much that they tagged Dinesh and Warren Simmons and like Bad Idea and like their social media posts of fuck tankers, fuck dinosaurs, fuck that idea.
Dang it.
this
That's
book is
terrible.
stupid. I hate dinosaurs. I'm like, what kind of dude hates dinosaurs? I mean, it's like next to superheroes in Star Trek, yeah,
It's
nerds,
dinosaurs.
nerd speak, comes dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're pretty high up on the list.
And not that I can go to it, but there is a convention. Conventions are coming back the end of the year. There's a couple of there's like two different big cons in Connecticut, and one is called Terrificon.
Yeah.
And Terrificon's run by this dude that's got like 3 or 4 podcasts. Sound familiar? Except he apparently is kind of loaded and can put on a convention at a casino. But they are having a Land of the Lost revival, and Will Holly and Chaka, the actors and actress that played them
From Land of the Lost.
from the original Land of the Lost, are going to be there.
Dude, that show scared the bejesus out of me when I was little. The
Mhm.
damn slee stacks were the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, the slowest moving thing.
It didn't matter. They were the fact that oh no, there they are, and they did.
Yeah, except for the one friendly one that was Enid, that was really smart.
Yeah, it's like the only smart one.
That was trying to, and they would keep getting chased out of the towers that would allow them to move the crystals around to actually get back home. But yeah, that was great. Obviously, the guy that played the father in that show is long since passed. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, you mean Chaka wasn't like a real like monkey boy?
Nope, he was a little dude.
But the Rhode Island Comic Con that I covered for Outright Geekery back in 2019, not that I ever go up to those floors if I can, because I don't think they're wheelchair accessible where they have the celebrities, but they have a Cobra Kai theme going on so far. So far, they've announced William Zabka and the evil actor there that plays John Kreese are both going to be there. So
I'll go ahead and shock you. I have not watched Cobra Kai.
Dude, you will be young again, like that picture of yesteryear where you had hair and that 70s porn stash.
We're that old that I'm filling my building and I found boxes and boxes of old pictures, and I'm like, holy crap.
I found a picture of me older than I should have been, taking this girl that I started dating to her senior prom. I think I was like 20.
I found my wedding pictures the other day. We'll be married 23 years this year.
Were they, carved in stone like on the Flintstones, or were they, thick black and white on cardboard or wood or something? Because
yeah, they're thick, shiny paper. I'm like, I haven't seen thick, shiny paper pictures in years. And that's the thing that's terrible. I mean, I want to be ugly. As wonderful as these things are, when was the last time anybody printed any pictures out? If Google goes down, you will have no memories, people. It literally makes me want to go order a bunch of pictures, because I've got pictures of my kids and stuff like this that I do not have, that are on here, that are great, that are on Google and everything else.
And everybody that is doing stuff like that, and they're like, well, I've got them all saved. I go, yeah, what happens when that external hard drive just kind of like goes kaput and doesn't work anymore? Then you have lost everything.
Yep. And people don't understand that. It's amazing. and the fact that I found at least 2 bankers boxes full of pictures. I even found pictures that my mother gave me from when I was like, 1 and 2.
I've got like all my mother's photo albums. Granted, a lot of those photos, unless she wrote who these people were,
You
I
have no idea.
I have no idea because they're some of these people are going, I know they're related to me, but most of them are related to me at least, but they're going back like 4 generations.
Yeah, and I just don't know.
And most of the people on my mother's side of the family that I called aunt and uncle were just cousins and whoever they married.
Yeah.
It was just my mother made me call them that because sign of more like a sign of respect because they were so much older than me and everything, but so I'm like, because they were my mother's cousins.
Gotcha.
So they were like second cousins to me, and my mother's family takes that line in the Bible, "Be fruitful and multiply," way too seriously.
Seriously. All right, so I've got a request from
We're not doing My Little Pony.
No, not My Little Pony. I've got a request from a friend relative. You ready? First appearance of Mr. Freeze.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like Batman 121 or something. It's from the 50s.
It's gotta be better than the Falcon.
Whatever. Yeah, it's my brother has a first appearance of Mr. Freeze, and apparently it's a ridiculously low print run book and very, very hard to get. And he's like, I'm glad I've got one because he claims it's his favorite DC.
I might have one. Not an actual one. But for a while, Toys R Us was getting like the cheapest newspaper print runs of like key DC comic books. It was kind of like a selling point, but they were they had like stacks like miles high that they were just giving out for free. The same way like Pizza Hut was giving out like all these like key runs from like Amazing Spider-Man, and they're just kind of like glued together and like because they were back then the stories were only like 4 or 5 pages. There'd be like 2 or 3 stories in a book.
Yeah.
And it'd only be like a few pages a piece. So, yeah, I've got the Toys R Us Batman one somewhere. It's in one of these boxes. I wouldn't know where it was. So,
yeah. Well, if you got an original, like I said, you have to hunt one down, and just look at the prices later for the shock of your life.
Oh no, I already know. It's like all those like first appearance things, especially with the Batman villains, because I mean, he's like the second superhero ever. So
yeah. Well, then that's what me and him were talking the other day. We talked. He's been reading comics, almost as long as I have. We're talking about classic covers and stuff that doesn't get any love, and I told him like Action Comics #2. Everybody they just sold that one $3.5 million the other day, 3.2, and #2 literally has a better cover. And but nobody ever talks about it. But Superman's not on the cover of Action Comics #2.
And I'm sure you've seen it already. They're relaunching the Superman self-entitled, but it's
Jonathan.
It's Jonathan Kent, and it's being marketed as the Superman of the 21st century, which makes me hope that they're going to have somebody besides Brian Michael Bendis put this together, where it's going to Superman basically going to be Superman of the Legion of Superheroes because it's
Well,
like
it's going to be Johnson, isn't it? No, it's not Tom. It's Taylor. It's Taylor's going to be doing it. Tom Taylor.
yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I got to get off here. I got to actually, I got some stuff to do. I got a big thing I got to go to tomorrow. So I've got to make a few phone calls right quick. So we got next week laid out for Batman, the first appearance of Mr. Freeze. I think it's 121 is what it's. I'll have to look it up. I can't.
Okay, well, you find it, send it my way, and I'll read it.
All right. Will do, man.
And I'm looking forward to reading something that is not the hokiest first appearance I've ever read in my life.
You picked it out. I didn't pick it out. You.
I know. I'm like, I never read it. I knew the costume was terrible, but then I'm just like, man, this is just so bad.
It's terrible. All right.
All right. So we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
With Batman.
Wear your long skivvies because we're going to check out Mr. Freeze. But bump.